Babson College is located in Wellesley, Massachusetts, where its 300-acre campus is home to a diverse student body from over 70 countries. Its undergraduate department has been ranked #1 in entrepreneurship for 17 years, while its MBA program was likewise named #1 20 years in a row by U.S. News & World Report. Last year, Babson College selected Laserfiche as its ECM program with a campus-wide vision beginning with its undergraduate admissions office, where Laserfiche workflow and Laserfiche forms automate the application review process. As CIO Sam Dunn puts it, Babson is approaching ECM as an ongoing strategy. Please join me in welcoming Sam Dunn, CIO of Babson College.
Hey, Sam. Hey, again, sir. How you doing? Take a seat, please.
Okay, thank you. Did I do those stairs okay?
Yeah, you did the stairs, but watch out for the chair, because that's a whole different obstacle. This is the most comfortable I have ever been in my entire life. So Sam, thanks so much for joining us. I want to start with an easy question, and I assure you that this is a question that I wrote myself, and it was not written for me or prompted for me in any way whatsoever.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Really easy. So technology has a profound impact on higher education, from MOOCs, BYOD, to big data and cloud computing. Being a leading business school in the world, could you share with us how information technology has affected the way Babson handles enrollment growth, student success, and operation efficiency? And how enterprise content management technology fits within your strategy?
Okay. So you basically just asked me, how do we use IT to help us grow, improve efficiencies, and do everything else we try to do, the things that keep me up late at night.
If that's what you think it means, then yes, that's what I'm asking.
Okay. Could I narrow it just a little bit?
By all means, sir.
Okay. So one of the things I heard you say was student success.
Yeah.
And how do we use IT to really focus on student success? Mm-hmm. So if I could focus in on that one.
Please.
And so in higher ed, the student is one of our customers, and a lot of people define the student as the customer. And higher ed, like a lot of other industries, this particular customer is one that we gather an enormous amount of information on.
Sure.
It comes in over their lifetime. We start gathering it from the time they inquire about Babson and coming as a student, through their tenure as a student, and then really all the way up till they die.
Yeah.
And we use that information in a host of ways to try to help them be successful, and also Babson to be successful, and to engage with them, and not just being successful as they're a student, but also in their career after they graduate. Babson is intentionally a small, high-touch college, and so we like to have a rich, comprehensive data about all of our students.
That's great.
And so, as you know, one of the things we did around IT and ECM specifically was to look at our admissions process, which is one of the key processes to any higher ed institution to maintain its brand and to help its students be successful.
Yeah, and it's also a point where you're capturing that information and some of the most important information about those students, right?
Well, and it's the point where you actually identify which students you feel will be successful at Babson and then ultimately successful in their careers, which there's nothing else that reflects more of our brand than having successful students.
Great.
So we chose admissions as our first ECM implementation because it has such a high impact. And many of you, I don't know if you know this, but the admissions process is one that's very intense.
Yeah.
You literally receive thousands and thousands of applications in a short period of time. And an application is not one document or one form, but it's an application with a host of documents that go around it, including letters of reference and transcripts and essays and all kinds of things. And they come in at different times and in different formats. At Babson, we get applications from multiple systems. So we have the Common App, which students fill out and they can send that to lots of different schools. And then we have our own Babson app. And so we implemented, we chose ECM as our first solution there. And just to kind of, it's paid off. It's been a huge success.
Great.
And just to give some specific examples, before we had a manual paper-based process that wasn't timely. It was very hard to manage and organize this massive amounts of information. And today, it's a world difference.
Yeah.
Today, applications come in different types. They automatically get put into a document repository assigned to a counselor that's reviewing those. Our counselors are a mobile workforce, and so they have real-time information to manage these very complicated business processes and workflows that they're constantly going through based on what information's in the file, what decisions need to be made at what times, and so forth. Just to give a couple specific use cases that I've actually heard back from the counselors that have just been a phenomenal success. One is I talked to a counselor who talked about the fact that she was in Chile because, again, it's a mobile global workforce going around to interview students and their families and stuff. Yeah. So she's in Chile one night and she reviews the case of a couple of the students that she's going to meet with in their homes the next day and their parents, and she reviewed the cases. One of the students realized that night that this counselor was coming the next day. They hadn't done their essay. They finished their essay. They worked all night on it probably, finished the essay, sent it in. Yeah. The next morning, the counselor woke up, got a notification, new document. She was able to read the essay, be able to have that as part of the conversation. So it's really, it's a real-time, global mobile workforce. It's enabled us to be that.
Sounds like a lot like my own admissions process to university, minus the Chile part, of course. So one of the things that you and I have been talking about over the past couple of weeks, moving the conversation up a little bit from the specific use case, is your approach to ECM and the strategic deployment of it. Not just using enterprise content management, but your approach to deploying it at Babson. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So, I think you could lump implementations into a bunch of different buckets. The approach, the strategic approach that different institutions take to implementing ECM or Laserfiche or whichever product they choose. On one side, it's the institution that they purchase, they install, they get Laserfiche all set up. They may have a couple applications they think it would be appropriate for. And then they really just wait until different business units come to them with a pain point or a problem where they've got a manual, paper-based, inefficient process and say, hey, we need to automate this, and the IT department or the central organization says, oh, we could use Laserfiche for that, and they put together a team and they do that. So that's one approach, and I think that's common. On the other end of the spectrum, and I know there's a bunch of things in the middle, but on the other end is where Babson is really trying to take this. We really see huge benefits to take an enterprise strategic approach, is what I call it, and that is to actually be more proactive, put together a team of people and a center of excellence, a Laserfiche center of excellence that actually works with the different business leaders throughout the organization or the college in our situation, to implement a governance structure of exactly how are you going to identify the best opportunities, then get the business people together to build business cases, analyze the business cases, prioritize them, and then ultimately approve them and figure out which ones you're going to do for second, third, and so forth. And then,
sounds like a really proactive approach to the deployment of the solution, yeah?
Yeah. And an enterprise approach where you're really putting together the whole team to take, identify the projects, take them all the way through, and then ultimately measure the success of the different projects and try to take the feedback and the learnings you get, fold that back into it. And so there's a whole host of things that go into that, including, just having a strategic way to train your end users. Because as you know from our conversations, one of the reasons we chose Laserfiche is that you don't need IT.
Right.
That you can actually train the business unit people and the business analysts to implement the
That
solution.
center of excellence that you're talking about, that's really interesting. Internally at Laserfiche, we call that an information governance committee.
Yes.
You don't have to share specific names with anyone, but can you tell us about the roles or the positions that are part of that center of excellence or that governance committee?
Yeah, so the governance committee and actually the center of excellence is they're not the same thing.
Okay.
So the center of excellence is really the team that full-time supports Laserfiche. They have the expertise, the project management, they're organizing, identifying projects, building business cases, measuring success, all that stuff.
Sure.
The governance structure, there's a big piece of it, but at the top level is our finance and operating committee.
Okay.
So at Babson, the people that are specifically on that committee are the senior folks. So it's our president, it's our provost, it's the deans of our schools, it's our CFO, it's myself, the CIO.
Okay.
And it's a team approach where the Center of Excellence is working with that. And we're still building out the Center of Excellence.
Great. So before we let you go, any advice that you have for somebody that is about to start a content management project or maybe is in the process of doing one or has been using a solution for a while? Any advice from what you've learned in the past 12 to 18 months?
There's a bunch of things that jump in my mind, but one specific thing that I think was key for one of to our success is to get the system set up appropriate from the beginning as far as the way you set up the repositories and kind of the back-end architecture and really think that through ahead of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Sure.
And please join me in thanking Sam Dunn from Babson College.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Great job.